Welcome back. So far, you've built some great small projects like the to-do list and a contact book. But you probably noticed that the code is starting to get very long and a little messy. In this video, we're going to refactor, or in other words, we're going to reorganize the code using functions. This is exactly how professional software engineers make their code cleaner, easier to read, and easier to manage. Let's jump straight in. Why refactor with functions? Refactoring means improving the structure of your code without changing what it does. By breaking our code into functions, we're able to avoid repeating code. We can make it easier to fix bugs, and we can make it easier to add new features later in the event we decide to scale up. For today's lesson, we're going to refactor the to-do list manager. Now, a quick refresher on what the code looked like. Here, as you see, the to-do list manager should look something very similar to what I have on my screen. We started off with a simple print statement, an empty list of tasks where we're going to store all the tasks we created, and a while loop that held about 40 to 50 lines of code of different things to do. We had small little tasks like printing out the menu, and then choosing between different selections of options between 1 through 4. Each individual option had their individual task to do. One was either to check the tasks, one to add a new task, one to remove the task, and one to exit out of our menu options. Now we are going to take everything that we have here and convert it into functions that will allow us to repeat this code later on in a program if we so desire to. So let's go ahead and start off with a very clean slate and reset our code. So first and foremost, let's break down all the different things that we had in our code into their all individual functions. We'll start off with the menu. We're going to create a show menu function, and its sole task is to give us our options. So we can print out each line, view tasks, add a task, remove a task, and finally exit out of our menu. Now to use this, all we have to do is call the function using the parentheses. We run this, and I see here that I get my menu. Next, we should be able to check our tasks. So let's create a view tasks function. And this function is going to take in an argument called tasks. This task will be the list where all our tasks are being held at. So when we use this function should have access to this data structure that it can iterate through and show to us. And just like before, if there are no tasks, we have to print out no tasks yet. But if there is, well, in that case, I want to iterate through my task list in the range of the length of the list. And then as I iterate through, I want to print out each individual task in a nice and neatly formatted structure, where the start of the print statement should be the number of the task we are on. So we can say I plus 1 to compensate for the index. And we will pass in the task list at the specific index that we are on. For I in range, by default starts at 0, so we need to increment it by 1. So we can say task item number 1. And then we want to grab the item in the list at index 0, since that's the index notation by the list. All right. And next, we can go ahead and use this function to test it out. We don't have a list yet, so let's call list of tasks. And we'll create a very simple task like clean our room. Next, we can pass in this list as an argument into our view task function. We run this, and I see here that I get the menu displayed to me as well as the view tasks. Now, I didn't get the option to select anything yet because we haven't added that functionality. All we have right now is the display of our menu. And when running the view task function, by default, because there's a task in here, it's going to show it to us. But if I remove that task, I see here that I get a no task yet. Awesome. So let's go ahead and continue adding on to this. We have option 1 done. And now we need option 2, which is to add a task. So we're going to create add task function. Once again, we need to know what list we're trying to add a task to. So we're going to add this as a parameter of tasks. We're going to create a brand new task and save it to this variable. And the task that we want to create should come from the user. Whether we are taking out the trash, making dinner, or picking up the children from school, the user needs to tell us this information. So that's going to be done with the input statement. Inside this input statement, I'm going to add a nice little message to the user and tell them to enter the new task. After they gave me the task and I save it to this variable, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the task list that we passed in as an argument by saying tasks.append new task. Finally, I can print out this task to ensure I can let my user know that it was added successfully. And we can attempt to run this to test it out and see how it works. I have a typo in task. There we go. List of tasks not defined. My apologies. It should be list of tasks. You can see how friendly our output is. It tells us that task was not defined. It lets me know that I passed in the wrong argument. I run this again. There we go. We get exactly what we expected. We have the menu being presented to us. The view task function runs, so I see the clean our room here. And I want to enter a new task because on line 23, I'm adding a task. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, take out the trash. See, I have entered the new task, take out the trash, and add a task, take out the trash. So it's working out exactly how I expected it. Finally, for our last function, we're going to create the remove a task function for option 3. So let's say define remove task. I need to know what list I want to remove it from. So that's going to be the task argument. And if there's no task in here, I should be able to let them know that there is no task to remove. So I will say if not tasks, print no task to remove. All right. Now, if there is, in my else statement, I need to be able to see what task I have. The user needs to know what options they have available to them. So I can either code out here the ability to iterate through my task list, or what I can do is I can leverage a previous function that I have already created, which is the view task function. Why reinvent the wheel when I have already created it to begin with? So we can use this function view task from earlier as a helper function. This helper function is going to take in the argument passed in from the original function that's calling it, tasks. That's going to display to my user the tasks that he has available to them. We can then ask the user what number of tasks they want by saying enter the task number to remove. Now, keep in mind, when the user gives us some kind of feedback, it's going to be in a string format. But because we're working with numbers, let's go ahead and convert it to an integer so it works a little bit easier. We'll typecast that with the int wrapper. Finally, I can say if 1 is less than or equal to task number, or less than or equal to the length of tasks, I want to do the following. Now, why am I doing this? Well, first and foremost, the number that I get from my user, it needs to comply with what I actually have. If they give me a negative number, then that shouldn't work. So I need to make sure that at least give me a number for 1 or higher. Additionally, if they give me a number that's out of range, let's say they gave me 10, but I only have 3 tasks, then this shouldn't work either. So this if statement here is going to check for both conditions before we even attempt to remove anything. But if the task number complies with the rules, then I should be able to remove the task. And I'm going to do that by using a variable where I'm going to save the task that I want to remove so I can print it out to my user later so they know what task was removed. Now there is a function in list that allows us to do this, and that is a pop function or method. The pop method, it takes in the index of the item that you're trying to remove and it returns it to you, allowing you to save it into a variable. So with that in mind, I can say tasks.pop, and I'm going to take in the task number from the user and I'm going to subtract 1 from it. And the reason why I'm subtracting 1 is to take into account the index notation of a list. Let's say they want to remove task number 1 from my list. Well, task number might be 1, but when you look at the list that it is stored in, it is going to be at index 0. So because of that, I need to take that into consideration. So I subtract 1 from it. So I can subtract it from the task itself. So this removes it from the task list. And what comes back is being saved into the remove task variable. Finally, I can use that variable to make an interpolated string that says remove task. And I can pass in that variable in here to display it in my message. Now, for the else statement, if for whatever reason they give me a negative number or a number that exceeds the limit of what I have in my list, I need to print out invalid task number. All right, and I think that takes care of everything so far. We can try to use this real quick. Let's go ahead and run the remove task after everything else. This should take in the list of tasks. And then finally, at the end of it, I want to run the view task function again, just to ensure that it's working as intended. And let's see if we don't get any errors this time. Okay, the clean our room is displayed as intended. I want to take out the trash. And it runs it. I enter the new task, add a task, take out the trash. And now I want to remove a task because after the add task line, we have here line 37, which is trying to remove something. Notice that after I try to remove it, I get my clean our room and take out the trash output. That's because, as you recall, the remove task is running the view task function as well. So let's go ahead and remove the first one. I remove it and I see here that take out the trash was removed. As I was, not the take out the trash, the clean our room was removed. And the only thing left was take out the trash. Awesome. So it's working exactly how I expected it to. Now, everything has been broken down into their individual functions, but we still don't have the same functionality as we had before. So let's go ahead and actually add that. We can now remove lines 33 through 38. The only thing we have left over is the actual functionality of my code, which is within their individual functions. Now, let's go ahead and continue from where we left off, which was by creating an empty task list. Then we can continue like normal. We can say while true. And instead of manually coding everything out like we did before, we can leverage the functions that we created and say something like show menu. This will show the menu the moment that we run this while loop. We're going to ask our user for input to choose an option from 1 through 4. So far, everything's going back to how it was before. Now we can go into our conditional statement. We can say if choice is equal to 1, I want to run my view task function. Right? I don't have to code it out anymore. The function has already been created and I can leverage it to my advantage. Next, I can check for choice 2. And I'll use the add task function to add to the task list. We'll choose choice 3, which is remove a task using the remove task function. And finally, choice 4, which is to exit out of our for loop by saying goodbye to our user, using the break statement to break out of our loop. And for redundancy, we'll add an else statement. In the event they don't give us a number from 1 through 4, we can say invalid choice, please select 1 through 4. All right. Let's go ahead and give this a try. We can run this. I see here that my while loop started to run. It's asking me to do something. I can view a task. No tasks yet. Let's go ahead. We'll add a task. Clean our room. Let's add another task. Take out the trash. Let's remove a task. It'll be task 1. And then I'm going to exit out. Now let's look at our output. So our menu ran in the beginning as intended. We choose option 1, which was no tasks yet. We attempted to read the task, but we have nothing left. The for loop or the while loop runs again. It shows us our menu. We choose option 2. We decide to clean our room. So we add that as a task. We see task added. We get the menu again. We add another task, which is take out the trash. We get the menu again. We remove a task, which is task 1, which is clean our room. And finally, we exit out and we get our goodbye. So everything works as intended. To recap, we created individual methods or functions that did everything else that we've done before, but in their original and unique code space. We don't have all of it within one while loop. What this allows us to do is to repeat these functions later on in our program if we needed to. Awesome. Great job. So far, you got to see how much cleaner and easier our code is. Each function has its one clear job. It is easier to read. It is easier to fix and easier to grow if you want to add features like maybe saving to a file or more detailed contact information. If you were to do something like a contact book. For a stretch goal, I encourage you guys, go back to the contact book and attempt to refactor the code in the same manner that you saw here today. Maybe allow updating an existing contact's phone number. You just took one of your very first Python projects and you leveled them up by refactoring with functions. Great work. Keep practicing, keep building. Every project you finish builds real world skills, and I hope to see you in the next module.